present values of those? Well, I need to get the dividend amount. That's where year one dividend amount lives, okay? And I'm going to divide that by 1 plus the required rate of return. Make sure that's a fixed reference. And I'm going to raise that to the power year. I did that on purpose. I did those years on purpose so that I could do that and calculate it for all of them. Now, ideally, if you know only one dividend, you're going to have an amount for the first dividend and the others should be zero. But when you're developing a template like that, sometimes you got to anticipate user errors. Maybe from a previous use, you had numbers from 2 to whatever. But this time, user wants to have only one known dividend. If they didn't bother to clear it, you want to make sure that they didn't trip themselves. So we're going to take a precaution and we're going to say the following in the beginning of the formula. If this year is greater than the number of known dividends, that means even if there is a number, I don't want to include that. So call that a zero. Otherwise, make the calculation we just did with that formula. Okay. And let me also change the format of all of these to that. That means I made a mistake somewhere. Oh, okay. Because I had not corrected it. All right. And I'm going to also make these pink. I don't want any format on those. Just general. I want this to be general as well. Presumably, you're not going to have non-integer number. Okay. For example, if I knew 3 dividends, as you can see, it ignored the 4th dividend. Okay. Even if it was there, it doesn't matter. For you to get that, this has to be 4. All right. Whatever. As it is set up now, up to 50 years, I allow. I know the present values of each. To calculate the value of the early firm, all I have to do is add them up, right? So let's copy this. And I want these things to live here. Paste. And value of early firm. I want them to have these colors. Actually, the other way around. Again, if you don't like my colors, that's your problem. It's my sheet, my colors. All right. When you download this sheet, if you want to change the colors, that's your business. And I want to make sure that these are dollar signs. Okay. I'm ready to calculate value of the early firm. Sum of all these present values, Control Shift down, and I decided that this is a bold number, it's a little bit big, and it has also dark green color. We will get to the value of the late firm, but in order to calculate the value of the late firm, I have to calculate the terminal value. And in order to calculate the terminal value, I need to know the first dividend after the number of known dividends. Yes. Let me see. Because you have to make that F4 or okay. Okay. His mistake was the formula was referring to the number of known dividends. He did not make it into an absolute reference. Because if you don't, in the next one, it's going to refer to this number, which is not what you want. So I also need two things here. I want them to live around here. I sound like that Ross guy in the PBS painting thing. And I'm going to make that teal background and yellow. Okay. Technically, I can make all that calculation in one cell, but I like dividing tasks into little pieces that can be accomplished with minimum possible error and just put them together. So our first task is to figure out what is the next dividend, all right? Well, that depends. That depends upon if this is 4, it's going to be 4. If that is 3, it's going to be 2. So how do I figure that out? Thankfully, in Excel, there's a function called offset. It basically says it has minimum 3 arguments, okay? The first one is, what are you offsetting? I'm going to be offsetting from the first dividend by how many rows? If I want the fourth dividend, I want to offset that by, oh, I want to get the last known dividend first. I want to offset that by 2, right? If I go 2 rows down, I get to the third dividend. So which means I'm going to refer to this minus 1. Actually, instead of that, I'm going to refer to D3 7. I don't want to offset any columns. The last two are optional arguments that you don't need to know, at least for the purposes of this class. This basically says go find the first dividend amount and go down by t minus 1 column, t minus 1 rows, and grab that number. That's precisely what I wanted. No, I didn't say t minus 1. I said t. It should be t minus 1. All right. Just to make it clear, just let's make these 1, 2, 3. Just to make sure that I'm getting the right number. If I had 5 known inputs, it should get me $5, right? All I'm doing is go to first dividend, go down t minus 1 rows from that, grab the value, put it there. Simple enough. That's just our dividend at t plus 1, that dividend at t, but I need to grow that by the growth rate. So I'm going to multiply that by 1 plus the second stage growth. So my sixth dividend is going to be 525. Why? My growth rate is 5%. Yes. Let me see. This should be D7 minus 1. Okay. I made the mistake originally, but I changed it. You offset by t minus 1 rows. Or you could have, referred to here and offset by t. Either way. If I know the dividend for t plus 1, calculating terminal value is easy. Take that term dividend divided by not divide, yeah, divided by r minus g2. In fact, I don't know why these things are not bold, because I have not made them bold. Bold, 1, 2. Okay. That makes it easier for you to see the formula. Other than that, it doesn't mean anything.